This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Whether you're packing for a vacation or dressing for a wedding, Nordstrom has head-to-toe looks for wherever summer takes you. From swimwear and bold color to romantic florals and dresses that make an entrance, find the right style for every unforgettable moment. Shop new arrivals from brands you love like Farm Rio, Free People, Vince, Wave, and Stod. Plus free shipping and returns and styling help whenever you need it make it all so easy. Shop now in stores at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.
Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
Plan B is a backup birth control option that's there for you when things don't go according to plan. It specifically works after unprotected sex and before pregnancy occurs by temporarily delaying ovulation. Plan B is available nationwide at all major retailers and through delivery apps like DoorDash. No ID, prescription, or age requirement. It's the #1 OBGYN recommended brand of emergency contraception, and it won't impact your future fertility. That's freedom to be. Use as directed.
Hey, this is JJ Virgin. Welcome and thanks so much for joining me. This is Ask the Health Expert. Here I put the power of health in your hands and give you access to the top people in health and wellness. In each episode, I share safe ways to get healthy, lose weight, heal your gut, detox, and lots more. So if you want to get healthy and get off the dieting for life merry-go-round, I'll give you strategies that will help you look and feel better fast. Welcome to Ask the Health Expert. Now, we talk about a lot of stuff on this podcast. We talk about how to heal your metabolism, how to be able to build muscle and burn fat, how to look and feel younger longer. And that's what we're going to be digging into today, how to look and feel younger longer. And I'm going to tell you that this interview kind of blew up one of my limiting beliefs. And it started a while ago when I met Dr. Brian Vaszily. He's taught me how to say his name, and I'm just going to call him Dr. Brian V. He surprised me with some organic products, and I was like, wow, this kind of blew my mind of really being able to have organic products that also give you anti-aging benefits. And so we're going to unpack today why you need to really pay attention to what you put on your face. I was actually doing an interview with him for my What to Eat, When to Eat, and Why Summit, and he said something so provocative, I was like, all right, I got to get you on the podcast. He said, we would never take some of the things we put on our skin and say, rub them on our kidneys, or our heart. They wouldn't do open heart surgery and do this, and yet we're like slathering this on. I went, ooh, your skin's a sieve. So, we talk a lot about toxicity and how to detox and what to worry about with your food, but I'm going to dig into much more about what you do want in your skincare products and why some of these natural, organic, and I'm going to stress organic ingredients, can be incredible anti-aging products, and then what you don't want. So that's what we're going to dig into. I've got Brian with me. He's a prominent natural health leader, a researcher and advocate. He's been in this world for 20 plus years. He created the artofantiaging.com that's got over 400,000 members. Holy smokes. To help people, empower them in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond with the most effective, evidence-based natural solutions to look and feel their best, avoid and overcome disease, and live long. So he has created a lot of these health and longevity summits, like the one that I just did. He's created a bunch of them, heard by over 800,000 people. That's just crazy. He's also the founder of puritywoods.com. And that is the product line I was talking to you about, that where you can get natural, no, not natural. We're going to blow up the word natural on this show too, but organic skincare that is anti-aging, that works. So we'll be talking about that as well. So lots to unpack in this interview. If you are wondering what you can do to make sure that your skin looks as good as you feel, then you're going to want to stay tuned, and I will be right back with Dr. Brian.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV! Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free. The
truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Dr. Brian Vaszily. Did I do that well?
No.
Vaszily. Hey, Dr. Brian V. I'm super excited to have you here. There are so many different things we could be talking about. And so what I'd love to do is really hone in on anti-aging, great skin, how we do that. But before we go there, I'd love to just look at, since you've been in the field for so long here, which is a testament to you knowing anti-aging and great skin, because you don't look like it. Oh, sure. What got you, you're in health, what made you decide to really start to focus in this direction? Because now you have Purity Woods, you have great skincare, like why this?
Thanks again for the kind words about the skin, and kudos back to you on that front, by the way. You also have great skin. So
been using your Purity Woods. So there.
Hey, what a thanks. None of that was planned, anyone. I mean, that's awesome that you are. Appreciate that. So, that's a long story, but I'm going to make it short. So I've been in health and wellness, natural health, heavy duty focus for over 20 some years now. And I came to a crossroads 5 or 6 years back where I could have taken any path. And so you can kind of cut my life. I'm 52, and you could cut it down the middle, sort of. First half of my life was pretty darn rough. When I was very young, I grew up in inner city Chicago, 20 some years there, where, I had friends. I lost friends to gangs, things like that. Also, even more challenging, I guess we'll call it, at a very young age. My dad was a good man until around my age of 9. He became severely alcoholic, abusive to me, abusive to my sister and my mother. His life read like a novel that no one would believe. He was a spy in World War II. He lost his first wife. He didn't get married. So he was a spy in World War II. He fell in love with this woman, found out she was a Russian spy. And one day, they were going to get married after the war, and then she was disappeared. And then his life after that seemed to be one tragic event after another, as well as some good stuff in there. So don't get me wrong. But back in those days, JJ, people did not deal with a lot of internal strife by seeking therapy. It was considered for crazy people. So he took it out on the bottle. He took it out on us. So I went through a lot of strife at a very young age. Became a very young father, married, to my first wife, very young age. Was dirt poor, living in a studio apartment. I would routinely, we were on a pair of twin mattresses on the floor, me, my wife, and my baby, and we were visited at night by mice, routinely. Rough times. I was really quite down and depressed in those years. And long story short, what saved me was powerful women. My mother, my sister, certain teachers who are all women really held me up and frankly, honestly kept me alive in some situations. And there's a lot of story that I didn't just share behind all that. But the point is that strong women have been central to my life. So then, fast forward now, I'm in the world of health and wellness, and at a crossroads a few years back, like I said, where I could have taken many directions. And I have been working with so many and helping so many wonderful doctors and researchers in integrative health and natural health behind the scenes, sometimes in front of the camera, and learned so much. And I saw this oppressive myth really impacting people in general as they hit their 40s, 50s, 60s, but especially women. And that myth is that getting older, hitting your 40s equals being over the hill, and getting older equals becoming, undesirable, incapable, doomed to suffering and disease. And I saw it impacting these, even these powerful women who literally saved my life. And I'm like, that does not jibe at all with what I know, what I've learned, what folks like you and many others have been sharing over the years, which is that these ought to be the best years of life, 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. And they can be, and they should be really in all regards. And so I'm like, I know what I need to do. I need to, share this message, as much as possible with people, with those in their middle years and golden years, so to speak, and give them insight and guidance, and research basically on how to achieve that and why this way of thinking is so counter to the reality that these ought to be your best years, not over the hill years. So with that, I launched the Art of Anti-Aging, which, we now have 400,000 or 500,000, subscribers over there. And that's all information based over there. And then I kind of stumbled in a way into Purity Woods and the skincare. I was the first customer, and my wife as well. And a real brief version on that, I had all this knowledge about, and which I'd love to share today if you want me to, the best things to feed your body, to feed your skin. And
yes, we definitely want that, Brian.
Yeah, and I'm going to go there. And also the worst things that you want to keep out as well. I had all that knowledge in my head, and then I started noticing in the mirror some crow's feet around my eyes. So I went looking. I'm like, okay, I know a lot. I'm going to go find a product that has at least many of the good ingredients and none of the bad stuff. And I couldn't find it, is the real short version. So the even shorter version is I'm like, well, I'm going to, work with some formulators, which I did, and have it created. So that's, the signature product, I guess our first product, which is our best seller today, is called the Age Defying Dream Cream. And it contains all of these, wonderful, powerful ingredients. And it's USDA certified organic, so it contains none of the junk you don't want to feed your body.
Which is really hard to find in skincare.
Oh my God, it's hard work. I mean, I make no claim that we have a vast line of dozens or hundreds of products. We literally have 5 or 6 now in our lineup because it's really hard. But I promise you that the products we have in our lineup work incredibly well. But you're right, it is painstaking to make products for the skin, especially toward, anti-aging, that are USDA certified organic. But testament, your face, look at, her, everyone, it's doable. and we did it with that product and our serum and everything else. So that's kind of the story. I guess I gave you the mid-length version, but that's how I came to be in this spot, I guess.
Well, you threw this provocative thing out there, and I think it's important for people to hear because we don't hear this enough, that our skin's a sieve. And someone said this to me the other day. Maybe you said it. I think you said it when we were doing the What to Eat interview. Were you the one that said, we put stuff on our face that if you were putting it on your heart or your kidneys or your liver, you'd never do that. And yet you're slathering it on your face. And I go, that is the best description of it. Your skin's a sieve. So you said, hey, I'm going to tell you what not to eat, but also not what to put on your face, and what to eat and what to put on your face. And I think we have to see them as the same. Like if you wouldn't eat it, don't go shoving it on your face. So what are the key things that we should be looking at in terms of what we should be putting both on and in our body for the best skin to slow that aging process, to stay younger longer?
Yeah. I'm glad you remembered that. Yeah, we were talking about that before. And again, let me repeat that because that is important. There's really, health, if it really boiled down to, I had 10 seconds. It's all about what you allow in and what you keep out of your body. And there's multiple ways into your body. Remember those ways. That's all nourishment or the lack of nourishment that you're feeding. So whether you're putting it in your mouth, on your skin, breathing it in through your lungs, or taking it in through your brain, these myths and these truths out there, that can bring us down or put us up. That's all different forms of nourishment. But literally what you put on your skin is literally a form of nourishment. If the molecules are small enough, they penetrate the skin. And in these products that are out there, and again, now I'm going to expand that a little bit. Any personal care product, this counts, this matters. Be super hyper conscious of what you are allowing on your skin, because the vast majority of those ingredients are going into your body. And when it comes to moisturizers and anti-aging creams, they are designed to go into your body. And then there's some horrible ingredients that are called, a lot of them are synthetic, called penetrators that pull these ingredients deeper into your body. So we could talk about the toxins you want to keep out. We could talk about the good stuff you want to feed your skin, therefore your body, that actually helps your skin. Now, so which way do you want me to go here? Because
we got to do both.
Yeah.
Let's pick one to start with, then we'll do the other one. We need both, Brian. I want it all.
You got it. Yeah, you deserve it all. So here we go. The ones to keep out are incredibly long list that none of us, including me, and I geek out on this, will ever remember. Let me give a statistic, and then I'll give you some valuable tips on what to look for. So in the European Union, and about 40 countries actually, there are over 1,300 different chemicals that have been banned from cosmetics because they are toxic, potentially toxic. That means they're carcinogenic or potentially carcinogenic, endocrine disruptors, i.e. hormone disruptors, allergens, and other issues. 1,300 elsewhere. If you're listening to this here in the United States, take note. Only 11 ingredients have been banned here in the United States. Only 11.
It's like that in our food. It's like that in our wine. What the heck?
It's a powerful
crazy.
Industry. When they say, how much is the beauty care industry worth? They'll throw around a figure often here about $500 billion, but it does not include the chemical industry. If you throw in the chemical industry, feeding them all the ingredients, and there are thousands that they use, I mean, it's got to be, well over $1 trillion industry because of all these chemicals. So I will also state this to everyone listening. Still today, most cosmetics, including your anti-aging creams, your deodorants, anything, all personal care products, most you want to try to avoid and make more conscious decisions. If we're having this interview 5 years from now, at that point, I'm hopeful that I'll say many and not most. But today, when you are pushing your grocery cart down a cosmetic and personal care products aisle, I want people, if they remember nothing else, to remember that is a food aisle. You are pushing it down. And most of those products, that if you put them on your skin, they're going to feed your body toxins. Now, another statistic to get more specific, in the US, the average woman uses 12 different personal care products daily, of which they contain an average of 168 different chemicals. That's the average woman. It matters. It matters. And I will say this. These companies are well aware that some of these 1,000+ ingredients that ought not to be in these products, and there's probably more like 3,000 that shouldn't be in the European Union, a lot are on the docket to examine. But, of these thousands that ought not to be in, their claim is, yes, we know they're potentially carcinogenic.
Potentially.
Or indeed carcinogenic. I mean, there's formaldehyde in so many products. That's everyone knows it's carcinogenic. Anyway, but their statement on that is, hey, sure, we might know that, but it's in such minute quantities. No worries. We did experiments on rats and we fed them this once, and it was a very mild, if at all, any effect. Don't worry, it's negligible. Great. And if I used deodorant one day of my life only, I would buy that. I'd be like, cool, okay,
Right.
But the problem is that, again, 12 personal care products daily, day after day, year after year, decade after decade, this stuff adds up. And when it penetrates, all these chemicals penetrate into our body, of course, they're not going to put anything in these products or try not to, that immediately impact you, because of, you're going to be able to trace it back to them. But it's like death by 1,000 cuts, JJ. And when you add up the fact that, let's go back to high school chemistry. What happens when you mix one chemical with one chemical? You get a different chemical, right? And the 168 daily, nobody's required to study the impact of these different chemicals together when you add these synthetic chemicals together. So,
right. And that's just then you add in, like, you put artificial sweeteners and colorings in your food. And you did, you just start, and then there's the cleaning products, and then there's the dry cleaning fluid that's in the air, and
add it up. It's ridiculous. And what's going on inside our bodies, you're so right. And,
and what's going on inside, just because it's like, you could hear this and go, okay, but the reality is, I always like to say our body's not a bank account, it's a chemistry lab, but it's not just a chemistry lab, it's a history book. And if you are not actively getting this stuff out, which I don't know how you could get all the stuff you're bombarded with out, like you'd have to, I guess, live in an infrared sauna, right? You know, so what is this doing to someone's body? Because they're sitting here doing this because they want to look better, right? They want to look healthy. What's it actually doing to them?
Right. You want to smell good. You want to look good. You know, whatever the reasons, or you don't want to smell bad. Whatever the reasons are that you're throwing chemicals on your skin. So what, you know, direct carcinogens are one category. Hidden carcinogens another. It's in the name. Carcinogens, cancer causers. In other words, what these vast array of chemicals that people are feeding their bodies are doing is destroying our health at a cellular level. I mean, let's start there and take it out. You know, there's hormone disruptors, and the carcinogens are probably the two most concerning categories of ingredients. And you know, we can go again. People ask me all the time, what are the worst ingredients? I'm like, when there's 1,300 to watch out for, it's going to be kind of hard to tell you that, but I can tell you some of the more common ones. Formaldehyde, I mentioned. It's used as a preservative in cosmetics, and it's a known carcinogen that's also linked to neurotoxicity. You know, in other words, it's screwing with your brain. If you want to have a clear brain late into life, it's never too late. Right now is the time to reduce as much as possible, you know, these toxins in your cosmetics. And as you noted, in your foods and elsewhere. Phthalates, folks might have heard of that one. It's like a plasticizer in these products used to, for the avoiding brittleness and what have you. And it's also linked. It's carcinogenic. And I can go on. Parabens is probably the one that most people have heard of. But, you know, they.
But that's probably just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's what I mean.
Yikes.
There's so many of them, you know, to watch out for. And they
then are you safe?
Level.
Are you safe then? Because it sounds like trying to know all of those is sort of ridiculous. Like, it sounds like the easier way to go. It's kind of like with food. Hey, here's what you can do. If you really want to eat healthy, the easiest thing is don't buy things in packages.
Boom.
Boom. You know, that's like step one, easy. So with this, would it just be that step one is buy organic? Are you safe if you do that?
You're much safer, but don't just read their labels. Meaning, if I'll say this purity wisdom, if I'm proclaiming in my, marketing organic and natural.
Well, natural means nothing, right?
I know. And so honestly, does organic. What
really?
matters,
it doesn't have to be certified?
That's what matters.
Okay.
That's where I'm going, is watch for independent certifications. In the United States, the most prevalent one, the one that I know of that you can most trust, is USDA certified organic. Look for that, because that is an independent certification. I can tell you, as you brought up at the start, you got to go through a whole lot of very strict steps to get that certification on your product, whether it's food you're eating by mouth or products that you're feeding your skin, in other words, cosmetics. So again, look for the independent. What I'm trying to say is, you could call something yourself. You know, you can have a product, have one organic ingredient in there, JJ, and 40 synthetic, and you could scream organic on the front, because you got one in there. That's called.
Wow. It's different than food.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that in food, but you can do that in products. That's that's naughty.
It's naughty.
Naughty. Holy smokes. I know that's a mom word. We are going to take a short little break. I just wanted to let everybody know before we do this, and we'll be right back, is you are going to be giving an ebook out to everyone. It's the 22 Essential Natural Steps for Your Youngest Looking Skin. So if you're listening to this going, okay, but what? You're going to get the book. All you need to do is go to jjvirgin.com/young skin, and you'll get it. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
1, 2, 3, 4. Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Give me a break, give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. That chocolate crispy taste gonna make your Kit Kat bar. Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Okay, so I know that was a little bit of a cliffhanger here. I honestly am still, I had to get up off the floor, so I had to take a little break because, I know the food stuff, and if a food wants to be certified organic, it has to be 100% organic, right? Otherwise, it has to say it's 70% organic. So in skincare, if there's one organic ingredient, it can be considered organic, or
No,
they can just put
they
the
can
label
say
claim
it.
on it?
That's called greenwashing. Here's the very important. A company can put one organic ingredient in a product, and in its marketing, it can say organic, but that doesn't mean the whole product's organic. In order for it to be USDA certified organic, that's a whole different ballgame. It has what we have to do is we have to demonstrate to the USDA that the ingredients, that there's no toxic ingredients, number one, in our products. Okay, that they're, and in our case, they're all plant-based ingredients, and they are and two, that even the ingredients that are included were farmed organically, i.e., not using any pesticides and herbicides and other junk like that. So it's a strict process. And what I'm saying is, look for that independent certification, USDA certified organic, because what some of the players out there are doing, for lack of a better word, is they can say on their own, just put a big word organic, and that means turn around and sure, it might have one single organic ingredient in it, along with 10 synthetic ingredients. In other words, don't believe the hype, don't believe the marketing on any of this. You know it with natural, all natural, wild crafted, whatever all these phrases are.
I love the wild crafted.
No, that means
nothing. Wild crafted and natural means nothing. So artisan, I love the artisan one too. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm throwing this at you. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Well, I love skincare, and I think that I think that probably most of the women listening, if you went down and looked at not only do I have a ton of skincare products, I actually had a new closet built, and I have all this, I just love stuff, but there's very few things that make it to I'm going to use it all the time. But I had a limiting belief prior to some of your stuff that the stuff that was natural, that was organic, could not move the needle like some of these other things that we use. And I would love you to talk on that before we talk about like what you want, or maybe some on what you should be putting on your face, because that's one of the things. If you go to like some of the medical spas, et cetera, you're not getting organic products.
Nope. No. First of all, side note on that, it's kind of retinol is a superstar ingredient out there in all these spas, and it's probably the superstar right now. And I would urge people, and this leads me into answering your question, I would urge people to be cautious with that, because first of all, retinol is typically, it's derived from either animals or it's derived synthetically. So when they say vegan friendly, it means synthetic. And yes, retinol is kind of like fast food. Let me put it that way. It will deliver the results, but it can do some serious, longer term damage, frankly. Certainly, if you have sensitive skin, it promotes redness and irritation and things like that in a lot of people. And without getting too deep into the science, it kind of rebuilds your cells on a steroid level, meaning it creates cheap cells that are not high quality cells in your body. So your skin can degrade, more quickly over time. That's a bit controversial. Go look it up if you don't believe me. The wonderful news is that for that and virtually any other superstar synthetic, i.e. not natural, I guess we'll say, ingredient out there, there are natural alternatives and they do work. For example, instead of retinol, look for something called bakuchiol. Now, are you going to remember that?
Wait a minute. Slow. What?
Bakuchiol, Bakuchiol. It comes from a plant called the Babchi, Babchi plant, which has long been revered in Ayurvedic and other traditional medicines for its skin benefits. Real studies have shown that it's just as effective. It does what retinol does without many of those, side effects.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's really exciting. That reminds me of bone. You know how bone remodeling, like if you've got bone issues, you can actually like create bone problems with excess bone remodeling and getting too dense of bones. That it sort of feels like that when you're trying to trick Mother Nature. Mother Nature goes, "Ha ha, no way."
Right. Yeah. And that's exactly it. It's kind of a bunch of cheap cells with retinol are being developed. So short term, I suppose if you're like 98, maybe you're not going to worry too much because you can look. But if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s, think twice with retinol. If you don't believe me, which is true, go look up the science. But if you don't believe it, do know that it does cause redness and irritation in a lot of people. And if you have sensitive skin, be real careful. And the real biggest problem with retinol, by the way, is that it is such a ragingly popular ingredient, JJ, that there's all kinds of forms of it out there. And per our earlier conversation, I want everyone to remember, I've heard it said that the cosmetic and personal care products industry is the most unregulated. Now, there might be positives to that for some people, but what that basically means is that, it's a Wild West. And the last time there was any legislation of substance passed, it was 1938. And the FDA said, hey, personal care products industry and cosmetics industry, self-regulate. You're on your own. And nothing has changed since then. So literally, you can take any amount of ingredients, throw them into something, make it a deodorant or a toothpaste or a anti-aging cream, stick it on a shelf and sell it. No oversight whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
That's how
I can't believe the industry itself hasn't created some oversight.
Well, they claim to have, but they've demonstrated time and again with all these toxic ingredients out there. They're not doing a good job of it. It's buyer beware. Just buyer beware. Be super cautious of what you're feeding your skin. Now, on the note of, yes, indeed, you're again just same way that the foods you put in your mouth matter. And like you said, the closer to whole foods, that you are, the further away from these packaged foods, the better it's going to be for your health is a very general but true statement. It's no different from the food you're putting on your skin. Mother Nature, God, whatever you want to call it, knows far better than mankind because it has eons more of experience of what it's doing. Now, can I throw out a little theory that this is not, I haven't seen research supporting this yet, but it's my own theory. We walked around for eons outside. We spent most of our lives outdoors. Today, we spend about 90% of our life indoors. But for eons, JJ, we walked around outside and what we were doing? We were hunting and we were gathering and wandering and brushing constantly against plants. We have an intimate relationship of plants on our skin. So it's a form of nutrition going back forever, as far back as humankind goes. And again, you're talking eons of history with that. It's a form of nutrition. So if anybody believes that putting good stuff on your skin and therefore into your skin and body doesn't work, well, you're wrong. I'll just put it that way. There are great ingredients out there for your skin.
Well, it just makes sense. I mean, I think back to like how we look at nutrition and we go, all right, what did we eat 5,000, 10,000 years ago? Well, That's what I was thinking. I was like, all right, what did we do back then? For like, what were we doing for this? You hear about what they were using for cosmetics back then, but it's like, what were they doing for their skin? So it is obviously they weren't manufacturing things in labs.
Exactly. Natural stuff. I mean, and some have stood the test of time. Again, I've been around this natural health industry and it's so cool to me. Two things: to see everything that was once called quackery. So many of those things, become valid. Some don't, but some do. Man, when I started in all this 20-some years ago, people thought you were crazy to suggest that Whole Foods itself was all. That was for the.
Oh, I know. Well, we were considered to be health nuts or health freaks.
Right.
And I always thought about that. I go, wait a minute, why would it be weird to be interested in your health? Like. Wouldn't it be weird to not be interested in your health, to not do things? Like it's just, so it definitely has come full circle, probably because the baby boomers are all, getting older.
And they want to live and live well.
Yeah. And it's like you want to look good, feel good for a long period of time.
Right.
And, I think it's in this community, we've talked a lot about toxins. We do a detox. I'm actually starting them back. I used to do them twice a year. We're going to start that back. And, we talk a lot about toxins and what they do with weight and hormone imbalance. But geez, and I say, hey, make sure you're using organic products. But then I was like, all right, well, I didn't really think there were great anti-aging organic products out there. So this is super duper exciting.
Yeah, awesome. And there's super duper exciting ingredients. The other one I was going to mention is to see how smart these civilizations and these ancient medicine systems were. Because again, I'm a research geek. I read all these white papers and stuff that would bore the heck out of most people. And it's like, wow, amla, there's one. Amla is also known as Indian gooseberry. And, it has been revered in different medicine systems, again, Ayurvedic and others for eons. And now, research comes along and, says, okay, maybe there's something to this. Let's study this. And then they're like, holy cow, Indian gooseberry is sky high in antioxidants. It's sky high specifically in vitamin C. Many people will be familiar, but many others. And if you're going to feed, either topically, we'll call it that, because again, I want people to remember when you're putting it on your skin, you are feeding it to your body. But look for products that contain Indian gooseberry to feed your skin. And also, it's not so popular here as a fruit because it's not native to the United States, but products containing it or eating amla is sensational for your skin as well. Let me mention a few ingredients, but give people the real basics on the 3 areas of focus for great skin. 1, your elastin. 2, your collagen. 3, moisture or hydration, right? So those 3 areas are what you want to have in mind when you're looking for any ingredients, any real ingredients, Mother Nature's ingredients. Now, in the case of those first 2, elastin and collagen, I liken it to a old-time mattress where there's springs and stuffing. And the collagen is the stuffing. These are both proteins. The collagen is kind of like the stuffing. And yes, as we all know, if the stuffing in your old spring mattress starts to go, it gets lumpy. In other words, you'll have, the look of some wrinkles and things like that. The elastin are the springs itself. And that's really kind of sort of in a metaphorical way, the purpose that both serve in your skin. And when that elastin goes, everything caves in. And that's when you get some real wrinkles and sagging, saggy looking skin and such. The good news is, as I think many people are more aware of the collagen equation lately, a lot of focus has been put on that. There's some great ingredients out there that help the collagen. Particularly look for vitamin C boosting and other antioxidant boosting ingredients like amla that I mentioned, is an outstanding one. Mango seed extract, super high. Grapefruit from South America that you can find. You'll find it in our products at Purity Woods. Camus fruit, sky high in vitamin C, great to feed your skin. And yes, by the way, also great to eat lots of vitamin C rich fruits and veggies, by mouth for your skin as well. Now, on the elastin side, there is a superstar ingredient, and it's something that's rather unique to Purity Woods products. It's in certain products in other countries, but we're one of the few that have it here. For elastin, which naturally can break down with age, and then there's other factors that can exacerbate, push that breakdown even faster. A lot of common lifestyle choices, that elastin breaks down.
Well, like what? What bad things could people be doing?
Oh, yeah, the usual suspects.
Like smoking.
Smoking, the toxins we've been talking about, bad diets, the usual suspects. Same with the collagen for that matter. Both naturally can decline with age. The good news is you can do a lot to boost them. And then all these bad habits that so many people have, pushes it even further.
Right. And stress, smoking, and sugar are like 3 of the worst.
Yeah.
Worst. Okay, so elastin. I'm dying to know what this thing is.
Oh, well, you're using it because you're using our products. It is maple leaf extract, specifically out of the University of Rhode Island. In 2018, there was a study done on red maple leaf extract, and it showed that it has over 100 compounds, 17 of which are unique nowhere else that they've seen yet in nature, that actually can block elastase. Now I'm going to get a bit geeky, but elastase is an enzyme that breaks down the elastin in your skin. Well, this blocks it like nothing else out there. So maple leaf extract. Now, this is interesting, again, because I go back in time, the North American Indians, the Native American Indians revered maple trees, not just because they were pretty, not just because they gave, certain ones of sugar maple some cool syrup, but they used virtually every part of the tree for different health purposes. And it turns out they're onto something because, again, maple leaf extract is outstanding for helping the elastin in your skin. So that's it's a couple tips with the elastin, the collagen, hydration, moisture. A lot of people are a little bit more aware of that one than the others, but there's great ingredients, out there for that. Good old or aloe vera. It's one of nature's wonder drugs, so to speak. Does so many things, and it's outstanding indeed for your skin. Some of the certain oils are outstanding. Some of the old standbys are great. Cacao seed oil, sunflower seed oil is outstanding for the moisturizing component. And again, let me just throw in organic is important for all of these. When I could talk,
especially with oils. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, sunflower
Holy
seed.
smokes.
Sure, it's organic. Whatever you please. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we know in diet, do not eat these damaged seed oils, right? So don't put them on your face either.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where it becomes incredibly, really for all of these, it's important to have truly clean versions of these. Otherwise, it's counterproductive. It's like you're trying to do something good and you start feeding your body toxins. So it's super important. But yeah, those are a couple, that come to mind. Astaxanthin is, I can't leave at all without astaxanthin. Both taking it by mouth and also use our age-defying dream cream has it in it for good reason. Astaxanthin comes from red algae, and it's the same red algae that give salmon its pink color and that give flamingos their pink color.
I didn't know gave flamingos their pink color.
Oh yeah, that's one of their primary food sources.
It's really important. Just to know this for salmon. Just if you buy salmon and you see that it's gray and pink, it's not really astaxanthin. They have done dyes because it's not wild. So that astaxanthin is what makes that salmon have that great, and especially, the Copper River salmon that's super red. So you want that red color in the astaxanthin. So, and flamingos, that's crazy. So what does it do for us?
So, it does a lot for us, actually. Beyond skin. And that's the great thing about all these ingredients I'm talking about, by the way, is that they certainly, as I've noted, help your skin, but they do so much more. So astaxanthin in general, people take this and it can help with sore joints and muscles. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory, which is one reason it helps the skin and so much more. But it's great for your heart. It's, I think I've heard 6,000 times more potent antioxidant than anything in oranges. It's sky high in antioxidants, including some unique antioxidants for skin specifically. This is why it's in our age-defying dream cream, is that like little else out there that I've discovered or seen, it helps reverse really the look of weathered looking skin. Now, what that really means is it goes to work on UV damaged skin. And this is a big deal to a lot of us who are 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, because when many of us were younger, we didn't get the message on, be cautious about the sun. You need some sun, as we all know, for vitamin D, but you don't want to be outside getting over tan and burned.
Right. Would we have listened anyway when we were younger?
No, we wouldn't have. But we might not have put like baby oil on to make the problem
laid
worse.
on those silver blankets.
Yeah, all that. And so a lot of people, in middle age and beyond, they have sun damaged skin. Astaxanthin is remarkable and unique for that. And so I really wanted to throw that one in. Yeah.
Important. All right. Well, I want to remind everybody about the ebook too, because you've just dropped a load of stuff and you can get more when you go to jjvirgin.com/young skin. You will get 22 tips and tricks that you can do for younger looking skin. And again, I hope that it's like gotten through you now that while you're doing all of these careful things with your food, you're doing the virgin diet, you're getting rid of the hi-fis, you're doing the sugar impact diet, you're bumping out the sugar, that it's equally important what you're putting on your skin as well, because it's a sieve. So if you're cutting the sugar out so that you can look and feel younger, you got to make sure that you are complementing that with the right stuff on your skin too. And what, Brian, you've opened my eyes to is that you can actually get clean products that are anti-aging, because I will tell you that I had for the longest time, I was like, well, I can get great, things that clean my skin, and some good body moisturizers, but shoot. And so this is really, really good information, and especially that information on retin-A, because I might have been a little bit of a closet retinol user. We're cleaning it out. So thank you so much for that. I super appreciate your time.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, lots of information in that interview. Thankfully, you didn't have to take notes because you're going to get his 22 essential natural steps for your youngest looking skin for free. All you need to do to get that is go to jjvirgin.com/young-skin, grab it, and now you have no excuses for not only feeling your best, but looking your best too. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the show. And if you've not yet subscribed, holy smokes, I don't want you to miss out on any of the good stuff. So go to subscribe to jj.com and sign yourself up, and I'll see you next time.